Thank you very much.
Good evening, and welcome to the other side. Thank you, thank you. Here we are, the fabulous home of gracious living in Silver Lake, the fabulous other side. All right, my name is Brian. I'm your pianist du jour.
It's kind of snug there.
And please do not be frightened. Piano music cannot really harm you, but I'd like you to bear in mind that I am a trained professional, and you should not attempt this at home.
We're two of the elders.
You got that part right.
Some of these days, you're gonna miss something, honey. Some of these days, you're gonna feel.
You'd walk into this bar on a Friday, Saturday night, and it was a dry fuck to get from the door to the bar.
I started coming to this bar in about 1968. Then it was called Patino's.
And the two owners' names were Pat and Nino. They were lovers, male lovers.
And we would get together at the piano bar maybe once every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, and we'd have dinner, and then we'd settle down at the bar and sing songs, sing all the old show songs, and tell jokes and commiserate with each other.
I worked at Jolie's, which was had the nickname of Wrinkle Palace because it was a much older crowd. I mean, old, with people in wheelchairs.
And it was the Toy Tiger for, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 years.
When the Toy Tiger took over, it just started boom, boom, booming. I mean, they were just busy all the time, day and night. I'm sure it had to be the busiest gay bar in Los Angeles area.
The Toy Tiger was called the Wrinkle Room. So this was never a younger generation thing. A lot of people from New York, when they came, and they would sing Michael Crawford, Michael Feinstein. I have heard music here that I never thought I would hear.
Then for a short time it was Daddy's, and then it became Houston's. Now the other side. This was really kind of one of those places that everybody knows your name.
Well, I'm very fond of men, and there aren't an awful lot of men that are that fond of 50-year-old women, except in the gay world. They loved me, and I had a marvelous time. As soon as I found this place I could go sing, they let me sing anything I wanted, and it was grand. It's a real love affair. Odd, but it's a real love affair.
I got a blind date waiting to call on me.
Any minute now, I got the blind date, what am I gonna see? Any minute now.
I met a lot of people there in the piano bars.
He will be walking through. Will he be 6'8" or maybe 4'2"? We could have.
That place was packed wall to wall, and for 2 or 3 hours a night, they would just play Broadway show tunes, and everybody in the place sang. Everybody knew all the words, and it was just a wonderful feeling.
Something happens when people sing together. I can't even really tell you what it is or why it happens, but I just know that it does.
You get enough drunks around, you can get a lot of singing going on. One didn't talk about those things in the 1940s.
Even now, I don't advertise. I'm not freely open, I should say.
My parents never talked about it.
And then there's coming out to other people, but there's also coming out to oneself. That's an entirely different thing.
I was always attracted to men. But you weren't supposed to do anything about it, and God would hate you, and you'd go to hell.
I came out here basically from Brooklyn so that I would be able to be free and easy with what I wanted to do. I really didn't want the family to be upset by this.
It was Indiana, and there weren't any other gay people except me.
When I take my sugar to tea, all the boys are jealous of me, 'cause I never take where the gang goes when I take my sugar to tea.
I was in high school and living in a foster home, and they must have got the idea that I was gay, because they sent me to a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist asked me, do you like girls? I said, yes. And he said, well, now I mean, would you like to feel their breasts? I said, no.
With those millionaires, when I take my sugar to tea, all the
he said, do you like boys? I said, yes, I like everybody. And he said, well, are you interested in boys, their genitals and things? I said, yes.
when I take my sugar to tea, all the boys are jealous of me.
And then we used to go to the movies on my stepfather's Model T Ford. This boy would sit the third next to the window, and I'd sit on his lap. And during the lap journey to the movies, we would fiddle around under a blanket when it was cold. And it was just natural.
Every Sunday afternoon, we forget about our cares.
I never had a lot of trouble with it, as many people do.
I had to run away from home. To be honest with you, it was hell over there. You think the United States was homophobic? Guatemala then.
Never take where the gang goes when I take my sugar to tea.
I was in Chicago, where I grew up. The girl I was dating, you always dated a girl then, proposed to me. I gave her a novel of Gide called The Counterfeiters, which was a charming novel of young men. And then she told me about her papa, that her papa, her father, had 2 apartments, one for his family and 3 daughters, and the other for his boyfriends. And it turned out that one of the major film directors was one of the boyfriends. That's how I got out here and stayed in the groove.
It was very interesting to have to live that kind of life, running and hiding. And if you had a lover, you always introduced your lover as your cousin or your nephew or a brother or a half-brother or whatnot, because we could not say, well, this is my lover.
Sex was never even spoken of. The word, I remember when the word first began to be spoken, and it was shocking.
The first time I had been, in the 15 years I was a priest, was stationed at a parish in Traverse City. And we had a priest from another order who helped out in our parish. And I became friends with him, and he was, a really nice guy. And he had some literature at his place that I was reading about gay people. I remember distinctly that it said, when you're walking down the street, if you see a couple coming toward you, who do you look at? And I just said, I look at the guy every time. For me, that I just said, okay, I'm gay, I am this way, and it's okay.
When I was going through what I felt was making a serious decision on what side of the fence am I going to be. I was in college, and I was concerned about 2 things that I would lose if I jumped on to him homosexual side. Good God, I must have some sort of a mental thing still. First, I couldn't go dancing, and I love dancing. Second, I might be lonely in my old age because I wouldn't have children. And then I realized that you can be lonely even if you do have children.
Yes, this is Hollywood, the city of the stars, the famous, the fabulous, the glamorous Hollywood.
All of the major nightclubs, the bars were all gay.
In the early days, the bird circuit was like the flamingo, the blue parrot, the white pelican. If they had a bird in the title, chances are they were gay. So that would be the first place you would look.
I'm saving my love for you. We would speak amongst ourselves. We're going to such and such a bar in Silver Lake. Well, if we're going to such and such a bar in Silver Lake meant it was gay.
The bar in Macombo was gay. The bar at Ciro's was gay. As a matter of fact, all the hotel bars.
My favorite was the Vieux Carré. That was up on Cahuenga, just north of Hollywood Boulevard. It's now called Ernie's Taco House, at least was the last time I looked at it.
The biggest one was a big, huge bar called Bradley's on Hollywood Boulevard. Always jam-packed. And I went in there for the first time by myself, and I was scared to death. Now, I had been sexually active for years, but I was just plain scared to death.
I had left Kansas, came to California. I was not old enough to be in a club. I snuck in, and I thought I had died and gone to heaven. Because for once I felt like I was totally with people who were like me, and I didn't have to hide anything. I didn't have to conceal anything. And during that time, there wasn't as much mixing in the gay community as there is now, and it was a black club in South Central Los Angeles.
I went with gay bars, usually with friends. I never went alone.
My favorite bar in those days was a very elegant nightclub bar on the Strip called Cafe Gala. And the bar, it was strictly men. The main room was almost strictly movie stars.
There was the Cottage, which was sort of like this club here. The Cottage was a bar where mature gentlemen would hang out, and some of the younger guys who preferred mature men would go there.
Only once in my life did I ever have a pickup there. One time when we first came to California in '46. So he took me to his home, and we had a nice evening, really, very pleasant. And then we came to the farmer's market on 3rd Street for breakfast the following day.
The Vieux Carré, on weekends, I would come home and go to bed around 7 at night and sleep until midnight. I'd set the alarm clock, and I'd get up and shower and shave and go out to the bar at just about 1 o'clock. I'd have time for 2 drinks, and I'd just go through and decide who I wanted and go over and tell them they were coming home with me. So it worked very nicely.
The owners wanted to cater to us because we spent money. You could tell the boys from the boys from the boys. Oh, it was a fun time then, my dear. It was a lot of fun.
Have you ever wanted to visit Hollywood? How did you imagine it would look? More impressive? Had you expected bigger buildings? Or that it wouldn't somehow be just another city with hotels and department stores? Visitors to Hollywood are likely to be a little disappointed at first.
I thought it was going to be very free, but it was the most repressive thing I could have ever thought of when I moved out here.
Oh, willow, weep for me.
the Lord weep for me.
The lesbians would be dancing together upstairs to a jukebox. The men would be dancing downstairs. If there was trouble coming or the police were coming, they would flick the lights and people would run upstairs, downstairs, and downstairs, upstairs, so that then they would start dancing with the women and the women would start dancing with the men before the police or any strangers could arrive.
That's where the thing started about grab a girl, because there were the vice squad coming in to check it out. So the lights would flicker the same way as they did up at the future club, the Canyon Club, up in Malibu, or in the Santa Monica Mountains. And they would flick the lights so that the owner would tell you. And both places had been owned by policemen.
Halfway to Malibu, there was a little area, a little dirt road you drive up. Me and my Rolls Royce would drive over this place finding it. And once again, it was just a little shanty place where they played music. We could get liquor, we could get stoned, and there would be a naked light bulb right in the center of the room. And the bulb would go off and on, which meant, here come the cops. And someone would scream out, grab a dyke. So we'd all grab a dyke and dance, and they'd walk through the place. That club at that time was called the GGRC. We named it ourselves, the Gay Girls Riding Club. Why not? You're out there with a bunch of horses. And so we brought in a lot of members. Not that you had to pay a tuition, you just had to be a friend of a friend of a friend. Someone who knew you well, rather who had probably slept with you well, so we could make sure that you weren't going to rat on us.
One of the drag queens came down and started talking to me. I'd never seen drag before. And she started talking to me, and I remember reaching across, looking at her earrings, because my mother had what I'm going to call drag queen taste in jewelry. And I started to reach across and look at her earrings, and she pulled away and says, "Don't do that." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "That's lewd conduct. You cannot touch me in any way." Because she and I both could be arrested. And that was my first introduction to the concept of lewd conduct.
Just a simple thing of just putting the hand on the shoulder. The cops could arrest you for that.
There was nothing overt about it. Everything was very low-keyed. There was no touching, obviously no dancing.
Whisper to the wind, say my love has said.
The bar was packed, so I reached between these two guys sitting at the bar to get my beers. And of course I didn't know them, so I said hi, and I probably touched them, on the arm or something. When I went to my car, the vice squad arrested me, and of course I had to go to court, and they had me sodomy, lewd act, and I don't know. I hired an attorney named Shelton Anderson, and I fought it, and I did win the case, but it cost $3,000, which that was a lot of money in '63, a lot of money. But the attorney says, do not worry about paying, just pay him $10 or $20 a week or whenever I could. So it took me 10 years to pay him.
Oh, you couldn't touch. As a matter of fact, there were quite a few bars where you couldn't stand. You had to be seated. This was a normal practice that a gay bar should not have standing people. Well, there were periods, there were cycles. And in the days when I first went into Bradley's, it was wall-to-wall standing bodies. But then later, the heat would come on, and then everything would have to cool down.
The vice squad called my company and told them I was gay.
I mean, the name of the game and the numbers were, if you could get enough violations, you could go before the city with a complaint, and the city attorney would get the place closed. And that was ultimately their goal, was to close as many of the bars as they could. So this was a tremendous financial blow to the bar owners.
Either the bar paid off the cops, or they'd bust the bar periodically, not telling you when, and they'd drag in a whole slew of gay guys.
I think in any police operation, there are cycles. And this was one of the standard cycles, was hit the homosexual bars, relax hit the homosexual bars.
The undercover police would be in here, in force. I saw people pulled out of here on a semi-regular basis.
A man from the Vice Squad had been in there 3 nights running.
When skies are cloudy and gray.
I remember he had a knit cap on. He was at one end of the bar, and I thought he looked very odd. And I didn't go to that end of the bar. I stayed at the front end of the bar. Suddenly he announced that this was a raid. A bunch of officers in uniform came in, and they went down the bar. They picked guys sitting next to me and sitting next to me, called them both drunk. They weren't drunk. I might have been drunk, but they were not drunk. And there was a kind of play there on who looked vulnerable. Can we browbeat this guy? And that was going on. That was part of the operation. It was just a hustle operation.
You got to where you'd recognize some of the same people because they'd be the same ones coming in all the time. And especially if you saw a pair of handcuffs sticking out of their back pocket, it kind of gave you a pretty good clue.
A lot of the guys working Vice were actors.
And dream your troubles away.
They were playing a role, they were playing a part. I get to be a gay tonight, and I get to see if I can get me 3 or 4 or 5 arrests.
So wrap up all your troubles and dream those troubles away.
Guys would go in and basically solicit gays in a bar, and then turn around and arrest them for soliciting.
Just wrap up all your troubles.
I was entrapped about 1963. This good-looking boy is down by the cigarette machine, and he's all kind of looking our way, and we're cruising him. And so next thing I know, we happen to turn around, he's gone. It was about a half an hour later. Next thing you know, he walks in with 2 police officers in black and white. It's called the Carriage Trade was the name of the bar at that time. And the guy comes down, he says, pick him and him and him and him and him. And I broke out laughing. I said, me? For what? He said, well, you were playing with his genitalia. It was out of his pants. And you pulled it out and you were playing. I said, you're full of shit. So anyway, into jail I went.
Those troubles away.
This gorgeous man came over and started talking to me, bought me 2 beers, started, just being, and then after about an hour and a half that we were talking this much, he just said, excuse me, I should be right back. He went out and came back with all the police. They started signing this one, and you.
The description of me was a white male with dark hair, a white shirt, and dark trousers. Well, that could just about describe everybody in the world.
They would get their violation, and off they would go with it, and it would be a kind of a in and out drive through. Get him booked. Let's get out and get another number. And numbers were the name of the game back then. And a lot of the cops back then felt that they were doing the community a service. They were getting this criminal element off the streets.
I was just standing around, and this man came up and gradually talked to me and said, would you like to go to my place? I said, sure. So we left the park, and as soon as we got into his car, he pulled out a badge. He said, well, we're going to a house, all right, but we're going to the jailhouse. He was older than I, so I figured I can outrun him. And I took off like a bat out of hell, just like that, over into the city, to the streets, and lost him. And I felt very good about that. And I was walking along the street, thanking God that I'd lost him. So all of a sudden, there he was, right by my side. Took him hold of my arm. He said, all right, we're getting him to my car. Well, he put me in the back seat, and he was driving on the outer drive, going fast, like south somewhere. And it was the only time in my life that I seriously thought of committing suicide, because I could have opened the door and jumped right out. I just was so tempted to just jump right out because it's so terrible to be arrested for something like that in those days.
I was living in the Rampart district, and I was in the old, I think it was called Westlake Theater at the time, and I was standing at the urinal, I was finishing my business. A man walks up and he's standing at the next urinal, and we start talking, and I start to walk away, and I walk out, and I'm approached by a second guy, and I was arrested for lewd conduct.
Going into the Johns, you went in one at a time, no matter where the club was you went, because you were afraid that somebody would come in and accuse you of playing around.
Just, you know, hi, how are you? Are you enjoying the movie? There was no sexual connotations at all to it at the time. Guy was cute, I have to say, he was cute.
I was standing against the wall, taking a pee, and this guy came in that was extremely good looking. I'd seen at the end of the bar with this other guy. I thought, oh God, there goes my job. There was a sink over in the other end of the wall, and he kept going conversation with me. In the meantime, he was playing with himself. I went over to the sink as he continued this conversation as he completely got himself erect. So I thought, oh Jesus. And the way he was turned, his butt was right next to the door. But I thought, uh-oh, he's going to turn around, open the door for me, and I'm going to touch it. So I got up there, and I reached for the knob, and he said, just a minute, and he started to turn, and I took my butt, and I hit against, I said, thank you, no thanks, and he went against the wall. I got the door open, got out, and I got to the bar, and I said to my friend, he said, oh, by the way, that guy's a vice squad. I said, you SOB, thanks for telling me now.
You know, I'm a permanent resident, I have everything, but I want to become a citizen, but because of that little thing that I had, it's haunting me till now, you know. They really damage a lot of people's minds, you know, and a lot of people's hopes.
They came around and asked, now what is the situation? And what are you going to tell the judge? And I told him I'm going to tell him exactly what happened. I didn't do a damn thing. That man came up and accosted me and took me into this car. I was given a choice, because I didn't have the money for an attorney at the time. I was given a choice of fighting it or pleading guilty to disturbing the peace, which is what they did at the time. The first time you were found guilty, you did the disturbing the peace thing, and if you were arrested again, then you would become a registered sex offender. I ended up in jail for a while.
The aggressiveness of the police department was outrageous.
One of the members of the group, David, was coming out of the bar with a friend of his, Robbie, and they were holding hands, and they grabbed them and they beat them up. And they brought them down to the station, and the reason was that they were holding hands. They kept them overnight and then released them without any charges, because there weren't any charges. They just wanted to beat them up.
Well, the unlucky ones who did get caught, really caught, they were also, by the police, were taken. They could have been let go, but no. They would get the attorneys, who the attorneys would pay the cops, and they would become whores for the attorneys and pay them off one way or the other. And of course, the attorneys would keep postponing till they got the right judge.
A friend of mine was in Griffith Park one night, and he was a very out person, and the cops stopped him and they said, do you realize that this is a gathering place for homosexuals here? And he said, yes, that's why I'm here.
They would always have somebody up there, a young, nice-looking cop, enticing people.
Again, they beat Dale up, brought him downtown, released him the next day without ever pressing any charges. And if you made any kind of a complaint, what was told was he fell down on his way in, he was drunk. So people frequently were falling down on the way to the police station and then coming out with bruises on their face and their arms and what have you.
I seen people, some of my friends that they've been We have found them, with either whatever, but very bizarre deaths they ever had. You have people who have died of AIDS, friends that have been killed for looking for Mr. Goodbar. People like that, it's not easy. This gay life is not easy.
You still took your life in your hands if you went out during that time.
Sometimes good friends are even better friends.
If I wanted to find out if a man was gay, my expression would be, does he have an ear for music? I used to spend my weekends in Laguna Beach at the Coast Inn, which was a gay inn, a gay hotel. And I was on the beach. I still remember, I was reading Das Kapital. Not exactly what you'd think of as beach reading. And this mutual friend brought Thomas over and introduced him to me. And Thomas said, would I have dinner with him? I said, no, I have a dinner date.
Love a man, where can you be?
Well, the entertainer of this restaurant and I were having dinner. Thomas showed up and just sat right down at the table and tried to take over. So I told him to go away.
I'd give my soul just to call you mine.
At the help of this mutual friend who lived in Westwood, he invited me to a cocktail party. Well, it turned out that I was the only one except Thomas Patrick invited to the cocktail party. Well, I huffed and left.
I've heard it say.
I hated this man now. On the third occasion, a war correspondent for the Hearst papers called me up and he said that he had a problem. A mutual friend, gay also, he felt had lifted his wallet. Well, in those days you couldn't go to the police department, but he knew that I covered the police department, and he said, is there anything you can do to help me? And I said, well, I know this man in the district attorney's office, I'll call him up. Called Thomas Patrick up. Thomas Patrick, our mutual friend, and another man, the four of us went to dinner. In the middle of dinner, I got sick to my stomach, got up and left the restaurant. Thomas Patrick was right behind me. I had just fallen in love with Thomas Patrick and did not even know it myself. They drove me to my house because we had all been picked up with one car. They drove me to my house, and Thomas Patrick said that he'd like to use my bathroom. And I told the driver of the car I didn't want that man in my apartment at all. He said, they're there. He came up to the apartment. I opened the door, closed the door. We kissed. He said, I'll get my car and I'll be back. I gave him the key to my apartment, and he didn't leave me until he died.
I go to bed with a prayer that he'll make love to me.
That was August the 25th, 1949. Thomas Patrick died November the 16th, 1976, but who's keeping dates?
Whisper sweet little things in my ear.
27 years. And then he died. Men are not reliable.
We've been missing. Lover man, where can you be?
That was in the late 40s. I joined a theater company in Chicago. The man who ran it had a beautiful apartment and a Christmas party, Christmas dinner one night. And all of us were invited. And across the table here was this handsome fellow. I thought, my God, he's handsome. And I wanted to get to know him. We became friends, and finally, for 2 or 3 years, but then I began traveling on the road with my shows and performing, and he needed someone permanent, and he got himself another friend. But the three of us were close friends for 40-some years.
Bob came through the door, I guess, to initially see if he was going to live there. And I turned around and saw this guy. I thought, this is great. This is it. And I have no idea why. And I met Bob in, it was pretty quick, 1950. So we've been together ever since.
He is my life.
I wouldn't be alive.
I would.
And probably out here.
Yeah. Oh, there's been times.
Oh, I know.
Nice sailor old in town?
Yeah.
And one thing I've always said, first you give it away, then you sell it, and then you buy it all back.
I was cruising MacArthur Park one night, which was my neighborhood area, and I met my first lover. I've had two, one for about 6 months, one for almost 31 years when he died.
Every park had a men's room, and that was a famous place to meet. You'd sometimes even at night turn the bulb off. And you never talked about it, you just went about your business.
It's an adventure tour. But it doesn't happen today like it did then.
Public areas in rural societies are just that. The meadow is full of frolics. When you get into the urban setup, the jungle just gets full of cement, that's all.
The street, you can pay him $20. For a good hooker who's clean and really handsome and dressed well, you're going to pay upwards of $200, $300 for that person.
And I am still going to be exactly what I am to this day. And I don't suck dick in cars and all that. But I do go to gay bars and I pay for sex.
But to me, promiscuity was, love is love, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 days or 5 years or a lifetime. It's all the same to me, love is.
You know, those gigolos charge a lot, and you want to know how to say yes or no.
All I want to say is yes. Why would I say
Well,
no?
then you C or we. You'll get it down.
Gotta lose some more weight though before I buy a bikini.
You won't need a bikini
Well,
when you're
that's why I don't even need
when
a
you're
bikini
laying down.
there.
We all look great. That's for sure. But in 1986, my doctor said, "You know, Guy, we should test you for this new AIDS thing happening, and see if you're HIV positive." So I said, "Sure."
One of the doctors at the clinic said I was a very unlucky person. I caught everything. I didn't catch everything. I just had a bunch of them. And so when AIDS, we started to really get serious about it, I said, you know, I'm closed for business. So I just kind of I was very, very lucky that I didn't have any, I didn't get converted, seroconverted, because I had, the fear, I guess, because I was the bottom as I thought about it. And I just said, no, that ain't gonna happen. So I stopped.
I got tested in '86 when they finally came out with the test, but I was really quite surprised. I didn't figure I was going to be found positive because I'd had very few unsafe sexual encounters.
So he tested me. A week later, I get a phone call from my doctor. Guy, yes, doctor. He says, you're positive. I said, oh, thank God. I thought I had something to worry about. He said, no, you're positive. It means you are HIV positive. That was June of 1986.
It's nothing that I even think about anymore because it's so well controlled. So my heart is the only thing that I really am concerned about. I've got some chest pain right now.
Yours truly has survived all this length of time. I'll probably be hit by a truck before I'm killed by AIDS or HIV or anything like that.
We have either very young people or we have very old people. We have very few people of my generation around as the mentoring goes. I mean, because of the AIDS epidemic, we're missing this huge group of people.
Now there's an old French song that's kind of tender with my heart. Domino, domino, je pardonne tout, je me revienne avec toi. I'd like to bring back all the 2 decades of people who died during that whole time. There were plenty of not just hairdressers, designers, good friends, people who worked for government and many other things, attorneys, who unfortunately got the disease. There was no treatment for it, so they died. Those people I'd like to see back again. They didn't have a chance to live long enough to let you and I enjoy them that much more. And I miss them a great deal. They were my friends.
This is the only piano bar in the city right now that I know of, in Los Angeles proper. You have to go to Palm Springs or San Diego to find another one.
I start to wonder, am I like the old vaudevillians, who's watching their livelihood die around them, It's like, to finally become accomplished at a dying art form is a little discouraging at this point in life.
I hear it all the time. What happened to the Oasis? What happened to Mr. Mike's?
There were other clubs that I had formed and played for in the past 5 or 6 years that have disappeared. I would hate to see this place go. I don't think it ever will go away.
It's a club. It's not a club where you have to have a card, but it's a club. Everybody knows everybody.
Boy began to cry, looked up at the sky, told
The suicide study showed that if you went to church, the probability of suicide was very low. But the study also showed that if you went to a motion picture house once a week, the probability of suicide was very low.
so shine on a harvest moon for me and my God.
This is fascinating. People don't commit suicide as long as they're with people that they're sharing an emotion with, whether or not it's a direct connection or an indirect connection.
What keeps me going? I believe positively. I read my daily word every day. Let go, let God, and with that you can't go wrong.
I like to move a part of my day into a social situation that is congenial, in which I'm comfortable, in which I feel other people are comfortable.
If I died tomorrow afternoon, somebody would find out, and within 5 days there'd be a memorial service in this bar, even though I didn't ask for it.
There are some problems with aging, but not many.
Thank you. Thank you. You are kind.
I heard the rumor that the place was up for sale, and whenever the word finally came down to all of us, it was a shock at first. We didn't believe that it was happening because this has been our home for forever, you know. Then all of a sudden to have it yanked out from under you.
It's been a real roller coaster, from the shock to the depression. Acceptance will come when it really closes.
It was just devastating because we are a close-knit family here, and if the bar closes, are we really going to stay together?
The need for the piano bar has vanished. Those of us who still enjoy it are few and far between. In a few years down the road, I won't be coming out either. Hopefully, I'll be sitting in a rocking chair at the nursing home telling lies.
We've been through a lot. We've lost people, we've met people, we've introduced people, we've found love.
It's a safe feeling in here that you don't get in many other bars and things. That everybody kind of watches out for each other.
What I like most about this bar, second to the piano music, is my family, our friends here. But I'm hoping that we can all meet somewhere and our family can stay together.
Everybody's asking each other, said, where are we going to go now? No one has any idea.
I worry about where they're going to go, if they're going to be okay, you know. So we need to keep in touch with each other, make sure we're all still good together. So as a family.
This is the only truly gentleman's bar left. I will miss it tremendously. To the other side, when I first heard the name, I thought, I don't see a white light that I'm going into, and I certainly hope not.
Damn it.
Oh dear. Unfortunately, bars
and restaurants, they have fashions, and people grow younger, and people grow fickle, and that's the nature of the business. There's nothing forever. You know, at 90, I'm not good bar bait.
Tonight is a very special evening.
Cheers, everybody.
It's the end of an era.
It's not going to be the same in this town without this bar.
We're going to have a real good time. Like Fats Waller would say. No one to walk with, all by myself. No one to talk with, but I'm happy on that shelf. Ain't misbehaving, saving my love for you. I know for certain that one I love.
Where am I going to go when I'm 21 to drink and sing show tunes? Nowhere in LA.
It's also nice to go to a place where there are like older gay guys, where it's like, it makes you feel like it's, getting older is gonna be okay. Like it's not gonna be like a scary thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Betty Bonaducci.
We love you, Betty.
Say that again.
We love you.
They're closing out the center of my life. And it's just been an incredible kind of home base. And I have friends here who are everything from 27 to where I am, 87. And there's nothing like it. I don't want them to close it. I wanted it to go on forever.
I love a piano.
Piano bar goes way back for me. I came out in a piano bar. It was not easy coming out in Houston, Texas with a very conservative family. So to have the piano bar as a very safe place where I could perform and be appreciated just on my own merits without judgment was big for me. And I wasn't going to get that kind of supportive experience anywhere else. Piano bar is heart and soul. It's the real person, and I think our society is moving away from the real person. I'm going to miss the other side so much. I don't think it'll ever be replaced. I don't think it will ever come back the same. Yeah, it's been my best friend.
Cheers to the other side and all of the wonderful patrons.
It will never be the same. It will never be the same. To the other side, always, I will love you. So, and I will miss you. It's what it is.
Yes. This is to the other side. A blessed place. And it will be a blessed place someplace else.
All the good men are gay. That's the trouble with romance today. If a guy makes me tingle, he's either not single or straight from the Joffrey Ballet.
They would recount the days of whenever they were queer, and at that time we were gay. And I find it real interesting that now we're queer again.
In a showbiz career, it's just queer after queer, doing Sondheim or Cirque du Soleil. Where can I have
boys of that era. They were called torch singers of that time. And that's how I consider myself. Hot mama. Oh, pardon me.
There's no telling what they might say.
I was an usher at one wedding, and I had been to bed with both the bride and the groom.
Oh, the best beaux are moles with impeccable taste in clothes. They don't care.
But everybody picked himself a
They
girl,
look sexy in shorts.
and so did I.
But no way in hell they're gonna propose. 'Cause all the good men are dead and the
I'm ready for my closet, Mr. Demia.
I hope you can handle the suspense. Here is the concert arabesques on the Blue Danube Waltz.
Sayonara